Golf has a way of slowing life down. And when life slows down, conversations often go deeper. Because if you're like me, every round's filled with plenty of bogeys, but every day is filled with so many blessings. We can learn from both of those. I'm Justin Whaley. This is Bogeys and Blessings, a place where we're going to talk about golf, life, faith, and all the moments in between that shape us. So let's tee it up today. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 6 of Bogeys and Blessings. Today's title is Rhythm, the Pace of Grace. This story is going to be a little bit heavy for me. This week my dad was about to enter memory care. My parents have been married for 60 years. They're entering a pretty tough season of change. And like a lot of sons, I've been trying to help them carry the weight of that season. Yeah, I think I said this an episode or two ago that I'm just a default fixer by nature. I want to fix things. I want people to have peace. I want to have peace. But I wanted to protect them from the hard things that they were about to encounter, the things that were difficult coming down the road. The problem is that I've lived most of my life fast. It's really been at one speed, and it's been as fast of a gear as you could possibly have. Fast walking, fast thinking, fast solving, playing the role of husband, dad, entrepreneur, even down to when our kids were small, and we would play board games. We would play Monopoly. I was just driven to win. That's what I wanted to do. And it wasn't about the winning per se and what the results of winning brought. It was just about that drive to compete and to find that sense of accomplishment at the end of whatever it was that we were trying, even playing Monopoly. Somewhere along the way, I've built muscles for fixing things. Problem hits, solve it. Tension rises, manage it. Weight shows up for me or for somebody else, figure out a way to carry it. Until one day I realized I couldn't. And even if I could, I shouldn't. And even if I shouldn't, that's certainly not what God is asking us to do. One day in the quiet, I felt the Lord saying something simple to me. It was a simple concept, but it was incredibly hard for me to grasp. And that was just open your hands. Understand that everything that I've given you, I've entrusted to you, and I want you to work like it depends upon me, but I want you to trust like it depends upon me. And you can't do that if you're like grasping things so tightly that you just can't let go. He helped me to understand that day. He's the one that had us firmly in his hands. He's the one that had his hands grasped around us. There was no need for me to grab onto that and to do the exact same thing. All I needed to do was learn how to let go. That sounds a lot simpler than it was, or that it is. I'm still learning how to do that. I'm fairly early into that, but I can tell you, when I did begin to open up things to him, like that season that my parents were going through, something in me shifted again too. The weight I had been carrying wasn't mine to hold. Conversations about their transition began to open up that none of us had seen. Breakthrough moments were happening. God was opening doors that we had no idea they were ever there. This unanswering, undescribable peace began to set in, and not because the circumstances changed. Those things didn't change then, and a lot of those circumstances still haven't changed today. We're early in that season, and we're trying to figure it all out. But I tell you what did change is the way that God allowed me to see how he wanted to guide us through that season, and it was about nothing more than just surrendering and giving up control. A couple of days later, Julianne and I, my wife, went on the golf trip to Arizona. I think I mentioned in a previous episode, and this lesson continued. I realized something that, again, she had been telling me for most of my life, I understood it was something that God's been nudging me over the last few years, particularly the last year or so, and that is that I needed to address just the pace that I live life. The problem is that I didn't really know any other way to do it. I thought that I was doing it in a way that was being incredibly responsible. But I realized something on that golf trip too. I rush golf the same way that I rush life. I walk to the tee already thinking about the next hole, not even thinking about the one that we're currently playing. I hit shots before I purely see them. I don't typically pick an aim point where in the game of golf they say aim small, miss small. Well, I really can't even tell you where I'm really aiming to begin with. I hit shots before I fully see them. I certainly read putts or putt before I ever really read them at all. Everything just moves just a little bit too fast, not unlike what I was learning to do in life. But that day, I did something intentional, something that I haven't really done very much on the golf course at all. I intentionally slowed down. I intentionally felt the need to walk slower, like just purely the pace of my steps. Just be conscious and aware of those things. As I walked slower, I began to understand that I could visualize the shot that I was actually trying to hit. I understood that I could pick out a small target and aim at it. I visualized the surroundings, whether it be wind or whatever, and how that might affect my shot. I actually marked my ball, clean it, read my putts, went through an actual routine of putting. And at the end of the day, it wasn't my score that struck me. At the end of that day, it was about peace. It was a real settled peace, the kind that feels rare in today's world. It made me hungry for more of it. It's kind of like those things that Jesus encourages in the Bible, is that, you don't have because you don't ask. And I don't think that I had ever stopped long enough and found the capacity to actually ask him, how do I create capacity to find that kind of peace? But man, once I tasted it, I just want more now. And it's like in golf. You can't rush a good golf swing. You have to have good tempo. You have to have good rhythm. You have to have good sequence. Like all of those things have to play into each other in order to optimize it and to do it correctly. In the game of golf, I think most of us would admit that fast feels strong. A really quick swing feels like that's what we need to hit it a long ways, and that slow feels weak. I think that's what the world tells us a lot today, too. We hear so many things in the world about how productive we need to be, how much we need to get accomplished, all the things that define what success is. And the opposite of that are people that are seen that go at a slower pace and maybe accomplish those things a little bit slower. It's almost like this is a dichotomy, that we have this thing turned upon its end. And I think that's the whole point. I think if we go and we spend time with Christ and we spend time in Scripture, we'll find that the real recipe to find peace in today's world is not to conform to it's Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the ways of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So you can't swing freely if you're gripping things too tight. It goes back to what I learned from God during that trip, is that he was saying, if you just open my hands, I'm not asking you not to hold on to what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you not to hold on so tightly that I can't get in there and do what I need to do. Maybe life works the same way. Maybe peace isn't the absence of responsibility. Maybe it's the presence of the right pace. And maybe surrender is what sets that pace. My dad was stepping into a new season that week, and in many ways he's still going through that. But in many ways, so am I. Grace has a rhythm, and I'm learning how to swing in it properly. So before we finish today's round, let's aim at the flagstick. Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I am God. Peace isn't found in speed. It's found in surrender. Sometimes the most faithful thing we can do is open our hands and trust that God is already holding what we're trying so hard to carry. That's what He wants us to do. Grace has a rhythm, and it's never rushed. So today's final putt, what in your life right now might be you be gripping too tightly, and what might it look like if you also learn to open your hands and just simply trust God with it? Thanks for joining us, and we hope you'll join us for the next episode, Don't Walk Alone. I'm Justin Whaley, and this is Bogeys and Blessings. However you found us, we're grateful you did. Until next time, may your bogeys turn into blessings.